Now push it down as hard as you can fast. There we go, yep. All right, I can totally see where it's leaking.
3, 2, 1.
Good day everyone, GarageKing here. Today we are going to replace the front brakes on an 8th generation Honda Civic that is 2006 to 2011. Now this is not a normal brake video. We're going to not only replace the brake pads, replace the brake rotors, replace the brake caliper, bleed the brakes, and then we are going to fix the leak that occurred after I replaced the brake caliper with an aftermarket one. And at first I thought to maybe leave the leaky aftermarket brake caliper out, but then I thought, you know what, why not add it? Because someone else may have the same problem as I did.
There's quite a bit of pad material left there. I'll throw up an arrow and you can see, we got quite a bit of meat there. Now let's pan in here and you can see there's the inner pad right there. I'll throw up an arrow and you can see there's still quite a bit there. You can actually see there's that little sort of slot or what they use for venting right there in the pads. Throw up an arrow there. Anyway, but now let's go to the other side. So here's the other side and you can see I'll throw up an arrow. There's like nothing left right there, just that little barely sliver of anything. So there's almost nothing left there. Let's take a look at the inner pads. And there's the inner pad right there. We do have some left on the inner pad, not a heck of a lot, but we do have some. Anyway, we have to figure out why the pads are wearing so unevenly. So most likely we need a caliper. A caliper is probably seized. It could be the pins or it could be the piston. So there you can see we're gonna take apart this side. Before we do this, always just wash them down. You can see I have a drain pad there, or not a drain pad, a catch pan. And what we want to do is you just want to rinse them off. So you just want to wet them to take off any possible dust. And you know what? You just don't want to breathe this stuff anyway. And so just minimize what you breathe in. All right, now to take off the calipers, we have two 14 mil bolts. There's one right there. There's one right there. And then on the inside, to take care of the brackets, you can see, or to take off the brackets, we have two 17 mil bolts. There's one at the top, and then there's one down there. I don't know if I can even get it with the camera. There you go. There's one at the bottom right there. Now this is the one where the caliper actually was not too bad, and actually you can see here the pins are actually moving. Let's check the piston on the caliper to see how tight it is, because if it's too tight, this could be the bad one. We got to see which caliper is bad. So we're just going to wind it here. If you use pliers and stuff like that, I should say, you always pinch it on one side and you can bind the piston when it's going back in. So it's never a good idea to use pliers. Always use a proper spreading tool like this. So now let me see how this one's working. And you know what, this one feels tight. I can tell it's going in, but it feels quite tight. So we're gonna feel how the other side feels when we do it. I actually have a feeling we might be replacing this caliper because it feels too tight for a Honda. Normally they go in easier. I can crank it and put it in, but it's a little bit too tight. This tool is awesome if you do a lot of brake jobs or even if you're doing your own, because it's easy to tell how tight the caliper piston is. For now, we're going to take the rotor off, and then we're going to have to check the other side. So in order to get the rotors off, you can see we have two Phillips bolts. So we're just going to take those out, and then our rotor should come off. If it doesn't come off, what we can do is thread a bolt in here and in here. The rotor part is threaded, and then when we turn the screws, it'll actually pop the rotor off. So it's a nice little trick. There's the first bolt. Second bolt. And there you can see, we can actually take it right off just like that. Now some people ask me why I replace rotors sometimes. There was a little bit of pulsating. I could feel it in the front wheels when I test drove the car. That's when you step on the brake pads or step on the brake pedal, and then you can feel it in the steering wheel. So I know they're warped a bit, probably because they've been overheated a little bit at one time or another.
Plus I find the cost to replace them is just so cheap now, it really doesn't pay to turn them. And if you do wind up turning them, I find there's so little left that they just fail prematurely again anyway.
All right, we have our new rotor here, and if you've noticed, we have two dimpled marks there. See the little dimple there and the little dimple there? These two holes have to line up with the threaded holes in the hub, because that's where our set screws are gonna go to secure this. There we go, just like so. And these really don't have to be tight. A lot of guys reef them in way too tight. I'm not tightening them up very much, just to snug up, and you can see I'm even using just a short ratchet, so I don't even have much leverage with this ratchet. So just a little bit of hand tight, that's all these set screws need. Now if you're not replacing your caliper, what you do, here you can see here's the caliper bracket. I can still move these with my hand here. you just give them a little pinch right here just to pull the rubber boots back. Don't just pull on them because sometimes you'll rip the boots, so make sure you hold the boot there. You can see I'm holding it with my hand. And then you just pull the pins out, you clean them just like so. So you give them a little cleanup.
And one of the things I should probably mention is many times the pins are different. You can see this one has some rubber on the end. So my advice is to do one pin at a time. But we're not going to clean this whole one up right here because one of the calipers did fail. So let's start with a brand new caliper.
So here's a new caliper. We're just going to take it apart. We can just take out these bolts here. So here you can see, we'll just compare. There's our old one and our new one. They look the same, so that's really good. So we're gonna put our clips in, but before we do that, we just put a little dab of anti-seize just to protect against rust corrosion. It does help because as these things produce rust, they actually push out and then it makes the pads hard to move. There's the other. Then what we're gonna do is grab our new pads. We can put a little bit of anti-seize just on the edges. Just like that, you can see I just pasted a little bit on.
And I'm gonna jump in very quickly just to tell you about the Ceramlube that I found. It is the best stuff. You use it on steel, you use it for anti-squeal, and it is safe for all rubber. So it's the one-stop shop for everything. You're probably wondering why am I using this stuff now in this video. This brake job was filmed before, so obviously I can't go back and use it on this brake job, but every time I do a brake job now, all I use is Ceramlube. I'll put the link in the description below.
There we go, and while we're holding them, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our bolts with the 17 mil head and we're just going to fish them in here. So we're just gonna tighten up these bolts behind. And I always tighten everything up by hand. I use the air tools to take it apart, but I tighten them up by hand. And the reason is this way you can feel if something's going wrong or you're cross-threading or when it's too tight. Whereas with the impact gun, it's really hard to do that. So like I said, I use the impact gun to help me take it apart, but I put everything together by hand. There we go, just like that. Now one trick I've learned over the years, finish here, you can see it's quite rough. And that's from the sandblasting, because they come in all rusted, so they sandblast the whole thing before they put it all together. And a lot of times when you go to put the copper washer on, it still leaks, and you can over-tighten it, and then finally it strips, and you wonder why it didn't stop leaking, and it's because of the finish. So what I do is I take an angle sort of grinder with one of these type wheels, and what I do is I just polish the surface here, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. And you can see now we have a better surface for the copper washer to seat on. It's much better, we'll get a better seal. Like I says, you don't have to do this every time, and a lot of times it may just seal, but I've had it where I've put the copper washer on and the thing just keeps leaking no matter how tight I do it, and I know I'm gonna strip the bolt and wreck everything, and then it turned out that it was because it was just too rough from sandblasting. So that's what I do to smooth it.
And again here, I'll do my shameless plug for Ceramlube, and believe it or not, it was actually suggested to me by one of my viewers that said, hey, you should try this stuff. It is really good, and I have used it quite a bit, and I only promote products that I use myself. So I do use it all the time, and to be honest, I haven't found anything better since. So now as you can see, I'm just putting the caliper back together.
And we're gonna see the fluid coming out in a minute. There we go. So I'm taking the old washers off. I'm gonna put a new washer on. We'll just give this a wipe, make sure it's clean. And you gotta have a washer on each side. So you're gonna put a washer on your bolt, just like so. There we go, now we got one side. You can see there's a new washer. And you're gonna put your washer on your other side, just like so. So now we have a washer on each side. And now right here, there you go. We're just gonna thread it into the new one. Once this is all tightened up, you have no obvious leaks. You're just gonna loosen the bleeder. Most of them, new cars, it's a 10 mil. This one's a 10 mil. I got a special brake bleeding wrench. You're just gonna crack this and you're gonna do what's called a gravity bleed. So we just loosen it up like this and then wait until some fluid comes out. And there you go, you can see the fluid's coming out. Let's tighten up this bleeder valve. So we have everything buttoned up. Now we're just gonna bleed, but you can see how loose the caliper is. It's just because the piston behind isn't pushed out. I'm gonna step on the pedal and you'll see this actually move.
So hopefully you can see the caliper getting tighter and more fitted to the pads as I push the brake pedal. Totally normal, but now what we're gonna do is a secondary bleeding just to make sure we have no trapped air.
Okay, push the pedal down. Okay, take your foot off. Okay, push down as hard as you can. There we go. Take your foot off. Push down again as hard as you can. Take your foot off.
So you get the point. So what you're going to do is continue to do this until you get a nice clean stream of brake fluid like you see right here. And at that point, you know that you have no air trapped in the system. Also, don't forget to keep checking the master cylinder because you definitely don't want to pump it dry or you have a different problem. Now you have to bleed your master cylinder. So that's a whole nother problem. The other thing is you can use a vacuum bleeder or a pressure bleeder. I use a vacuum bleeder sometimes, but for the purposes of this video, I just wanted to show you how to manually bleed it in case you didn't have any specialty tools. And here I'll throw up that picture here. Yes, don't forget to top up the fluid. Very important.
So there you have it, guys. Another brake job done. A little bit of frustration with this one, just with the parts and everything and issues we had with the calipers, but we got it done and that's what counts. So that's it for my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, please, by all means, let me know. That's it for now. GarageKing over and out, and I will hopefully see you guys on the next one.